The note that broke the silence at KeanuReeves sat alone in the corner of a small coffee shop. The place was quiet, except for the soft sound of a guitar playing through the old speakers above. He liked places like this, simple, hidden from the flashing cameras and shouting voices. He liked the smell of fresh bread and warm coffee. For a moment, he could just be a man. Not an actor, not a name on a poster, just a man, outside. The sky was gray. Rain tapped gently against the window beside him. He stirred his coffee slowly. Lost in thought, he watched people pass by, an old couple holding hands, a woman pulling her child's tiny raincoat hood up, a boy standing alone at the corner. The boy caught Keanu's eyes. There was something in the way he stood, shoulders hunched, arms wrapped tight around himself, eyes hollow like a well with no bottom. He looked too thin for his age. His hair stuck to his forehead. From the drizzle, Keanu watched as the boy stepped closer to the glass. Their eyes met. The boy looked down quickly, then up again. His fingers clutched a small piece of paper, shaking as if it weighed too much. Keanu's heart tightened. He stood and walked to the door. When he stepped outside, the cold air made him shiver. He approached the boy slowly, careful not to scare him. The boy took a step back, then froze. Keanu knelt down to his level. He could see the boy's eyes clearer now. So much sadness for someone so young. "Hey, buddy," Keanu said softly, his voice calm like a father's whisper. "Are you okay?" The boy didn't answer. Instead, he held out the crumpled paper. His fingers brushed against Keanu's. They were ice cold. Keanu gently took the note, his eyes never leaving the boy's face. He opened the paper slowly. The words inside were written in messy, trembling letters. Each word felt like it had been pulled from somewhere deep and dark. "Please help my mom. She's sick. They say she can't be saved, but I heard you help people. Please don't let her die. I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone." Keanu felt something inside him break, like a window cracking from the cold. He looked at the boy again. The boy's eyes shimmered with tears that didn't fall. He stood there in the rain, small and fragile, waiting for an answer that could save his world. Keanu reached out and placed his hand on the boy's shoulder. "Where's your mom?" he asked gently. The boy pointed down the street, towards a row of old, broken buildings that looked like they hadn't seen hope in years. Without a second thought, Keanu took off his jacket and draped it over the boy's small shoulders. He stood up and held out his hand. "Come on," he said. "We'll go together." As they walked down the street, the boy stayed close to Keanu's side, gripping his hand like a lifeline. Cars passed by, but no one noticed them. A movie star walking hand in hand with a hollow-eyed boy, crossing a world that felt too big, too cruel. The closer they got to the buildings, the darker the street felt. The houses were old, their paint peeling, their windows cracked. People sat on the steps, heads bowed, eyes empty. The boy led Keanu through a narrow alley, then stopped at a door that looked like it might fall apart with a push. Inside, the air smelled stale, mixed with the sharp scent of old medicine. There was barely any light. In the corner of the room lay a woman on a thin mattress, her face pale, her breathing shallow. An old blanket covered her frail body. Keanu knelt beside her. The boy dropped to his knees and held his mother's hand. "Mom," he whispered, "I found him. He's going to help." The woman opened her eyes slowly. They were dull but warm. She looked at Keanu, confusion mixing with a faint glimmer of hope. She tried to speak, but only a weak cough came out. Keanu felt 1,000 thoughts race through his mind. How unfair life could be. How a child should never have to beg for a mother's life. How sometimes the world forgets the ones who have no voice. He turned to the boy. "What's your name?" Keanu asked. "Liam," the boy whispered. "Liam," Keanu said, squeezing his shoulder gently. "I'm going to do everything I can. I promise you're not alone anymore." Liam nodded. Wiping his eyes with the sleeve of Keanu's jacket, Keanu took out his phone and started making calls. Doctors, friends, anyone he knew who could help. Each call was a lifeline thrown into the darkness. As he spoke, he looked at Liam and saw something new, a tiny spark of hope fighting to grow. Outside, the rain fell harder, but inside that small, broken room, Keanu made a silent promise to himself. He would not let that boy's note be just a cry in the storm. He would fight for this family, for their chance to stand again. He didn't know yet the secrets waiting to unfold, the battles he'd face, or the ways this boy's note would change his own life forever. But in that moment, with the rain tapping at the window and Liam's small hand gripping his, Keanu knew one thing for sure. Sometimes, saving someone else was the only way to save yourself. Asterisk the promise that couldn't be broken through him was quiet except for the woman's shallow breaths. Keanu sat beside her, holding her wrist gently as if afraid to hurt her. Liam stayed close, never letting go of his mother's hand. Keanu had called the best doctor he knew, an old friend named Dr. Raj, who had worked with children and critical cases around the world. After 20 minutes, a car stopped outside. The door creaked open, and in came a man in his late 50s, wearing a raincoat and carrying a worn black bag. His eyes landed on Keanu first, then on the fragile woman on the floor. "You weren't joking, doctor," Raj said softly. "She's fading." Keanu stood. "Do whatever you can. I'll pay for everything." Liam's eyes widened. He looked up at Keanu as if seeing something impossible. A stranger stepping in like family, with no reason except kindness. Drive. Raj checked the woman's pulse, her breathing, and the color in her skin. He opened his bag and began working silently. Keanu stepped aside, watching. His hands were clenched at his sides. The room was too still, the kind of stillness that comes when something sacred is slipping away. After a while, Dr. Raj gave her an injection and looked up. "She needs to be in a hospital immediately. This is pneumonia, advanced, and complicated by malnutrition. She hasn't been eating." Keanu turned to Liam. "Why didn't you take her to the hospital earlier?" Liam's face sank. He didn't speak. Instead, he walked to a drawer and pulled out an envelope. He handed it to Keanu. Inside were 3 medical bills, all marked rejected or unpaid. In the bottom corner, a handwritten note read, "No insurance." Patient turned away. Keanu looked at the papers, then at Liam. The boy's face was unreadable, a mix of shame and helplessness no child should ever know. Keanu didn't say anything. He just pulled out his phone again. Within minutes, a black SUV arrived outside, sent by his team. They carried the woman gently, wrapped in warm blankets, and laid her inside. Liam climbed in beside her, his tiny fingers holding hers the whole way. As they drove through the city, Keanu sat beside them, staring out the window. He wasn't thinking about scripts or films or the world he usually lived in. He was thinking about how this boy had been invisible, how many Liams there were, walking through life with no one to see them. At the hospital, the nurses recognized Keanu but said nothing. There was something sacred in the moment, something bigger than fame. The woman was taken inside, and Liam was given warm food and a blanket. Keanu stayed with him through the night. Hours passed. Nurses moved in and out of the room, whispering updates. At one point, a young nurse came out and placed her hand on Liam's shoulder. "She's stable for now," she said, "but it's going to be a hard road." Liam looked up at Keanu. "Is she going to die?" Keanu knelt beside him. "Not if we can help it," he said. And then something unexpected happened. Liam pulled out a small photo from his pocket. It was old and faded. In it was his mother, smiling, holding a baby Liam. Beside her was a man with tired eyes and a stiff posture. "This was my dad," Liam said quietly. "He left when I was 4. Mom said he wasn't strong enough to stay. She worked 3 jobs after that. Sometimes she didn't eat, so I could." Keanu took the photo gently. He stared at it for a moment. Then he looked at Liam. "Your mom is stronger than anyone I've ever met," Keanu said. Liam nodded. "I tried to help. I cleaned shoes outside the train station. I washed windshields. Sometimes people gave me food. Sometimes they yelled." "Why me, Liam?" Keanu asked softly. "Why did you give me the note?" Liam looked down. "Because you always look kind in movies, and you were sitting alone. I thought maybe you were sad too." Those words hit Keanu hard. He didn't know how this child could see through so much, see the sadness he tried to hide behind smiles and silence. Keanu took a deep breath. "You were right," he said. "I was sad, They sat together for a while. The boy and the man with 1,000 stories in his eyes. As dawn broke, the doctor returned. "She's holding on," he said, "but we'll need to keep her here for at least a week. Her lungs are weak. Her body's tired." Keanu nodded. "Whatever she needs. Just do it." Then he looked at Liam. "How long have you been alone like this?" 2 years. Liam said, "Since Mom got sick." Keanu leaned back in his chair. He didn't know yet where this journey was taking him, but he felt something deep in his chest, not just sympathy, something more. Connection, responsibility, maybe even fate. As he stepped out into the morning sun, Keanu looked up at the sky. The clouds had started to break. Light poured through in soft streaks, but he didn't see beauty. He saw a question. What happens to a child when no one steps in? And what happens when someone finally does? He didn't know the answers yet, but he was about to find out. The secrets behind Liam's iced hospital room became a small world of its own. Each day, Keanu visited Liam and his mother. He brought fresh clothes for Liam, warm meals, and small books they could read together. The doctors worked hard, but each report brought mixed news. Some days the woman seemed stronger, whispering soft thanks to Keanu with tired eyes. Other days her breathing turned rough again, the monitors beeping like tiny alarms. One evening, as the city lights flickered beyond the hospital window, Liam sat beside his mother's bed, humming an old lullaby. Keanu watched from the chair near the window. He'd seen the boy's fear, but now he saw something else, a quiet strength, a will to hold his mother's hand through anything. When Liam's mother drifted to sleep, Liam came and sat near Keanu. They shared a cup of warm soup, both silent, for a long while. Then Liam spoke. "Can I ask you something?" Liam's voice was small, but steady. "Anything," Keanu said. "Why are you really helping us?" Liam's eyes searched Keanu's face, as if looking for cracks in a mask. Keanu didn't answer right away. He looked down at his hands. "Because I know what it feels like to be alone," he said finally. Liam frowned. "But you're famous. People love you." Keanu almost smiled. "Sometimes you can be surrounded by people and still feel empty inside." He paused. "When I was young, I lost people I loved. My dad left. My best friend died. Then later, I lost more people. Each time, it felt like a hole opened up inside me." Liam's eyes softened. He leaned his head against Keanu's arm. "Does it ever stop hurting?" "Not really," Keanu whispered. "But helping someone else makes it hurt a little less." They sat like that for a while, two souls carrying invisible scars. The next morning, Keanu returned with a surprise. He'd arranged for a special nurse to help Liam's mother at home. When she was ready to leave the hospital, he'd rented a small, clean apartment far from the broken alley. He even found a local charity that offered free tutoring for kids like Liam. Liam's mother was awake when Keanu told her. Tears rolled down her cheeks. "Why would you do this for strangers?" she asked in a hoarse voice. Keanu shook his head. Gently, "You're not strangers anymore." For the first time in days, Liam's mother smiled, weak but real. But as they prepared to move her to the new apartment, another secret began to show itself. One afternoon, while Keanu was helping pack a few of Liam's old things, he found a small wooden box under a loose floorboard in their old apartment. It was wrapped in an old shirt. Inside the box was a photo of a young man in a military uniform, a folded letter, and a worn-out bracelet with strange symbols. Keanu sat on the dusty floor, holding the bracelet between his fingers. Liam watched him from the doorway. "Who's this?" Keanu asked, showing the photo. Liam shuffled his feet. "That's my mom's brother, Uncle Jonah. He never came back from the war." Keanu unfolded the letter. The paper was thin, the ink faded. It was a goodbye letter. In it, Jonah wrote about protecting something important, something he couldn't speak of but wanted his sister to keep safe. He said, "If they ever come looking, protect Liam. Promise me." Keanu read the words again. "Did your mom ever tell you what he meant?" Liam shook his head. "She said people did come once, asking about the bracelet, but she hid it. She told me never to show it to anyone." Keanu stared at the symbols. They were old, maybe tribal or from some special unit. He couldn't understand them, but he felt a chill. This wasn't just an old piece of jewelry. It was a secret, one that might explain why Liam and his mother had been ignored, pushed aside. When Keanu showed the bracelet to Dr. Raj later that night, the doctor frowned. "You should be careful, Keanu. Sometimes helping comes with shadows." Some people would do anything to keep secrets buried. Keanu didn't sleep that night. He sat by Liam's bed in the hospital, the bracelet tucked in his pocket. He watched. Liam breathed softly, safe for now. Outside, the city felt different, darker. He realized this was no longer just about a desperate note from a sad boy. This was about something much bigger, something that could put Liam and his mother in danger. Again, if he didn't stand firm. Keanu looked at Liam's sleeping face. He made another silent promise. "Whatever it takes, I won't let anyone hurt you again." But in the shadows of the hospital hallway, someone watched him leave the room. Someone who knew the bracelet's truth. Someone who wasn't ready to let old secrets stay hidden. Shadows that knock at midnight. Hospital lights buzzed softly as Keanu stepped out for fresh air. The bracelet's strange symbols kept spinning in his mind. He felt the weight of the promise he'd made, to Liam, to Liam's mother, to himself. As he stood by the parking lot, Dr. Raj joined him, holding 2 paper cups of coffee. "You look like you haven't slept in days, Doctor," Raj said. Keanu gave a tired smile. "I can't stop thinking about that letter. Why would Liam's uncle warn them to protect Liam? Protect him from what?" Dr. Raj sighed. "Sometimes people hide things to keep their families safe, but secrets have a way of crawling back." He paused, staring into the distance. "Are you sure you want to get involved this deep?" Keanu didn't even blink. There's no turning back now. Later that night, Keanu brought Liam and his mother to the new apartment. It was small but warm, with clean walls and a soft bed, a world away from the broken alley. Liam's mother wept when she lay down for the first time, feeling safe. Liam stood at the window, looking out at the street below. Keanu sat on the floor beside him. "Do you feel better here?" Keanu asked. Liam nodded. "It feels like maybe we can breathe again." But breathing wouldn't be so easy. At midnight, while everyone slept, a loud knock echoed through the apartment. It was so sudden that Keanu woke with a start. He rushed to the door, motioning Liam and his mother to stay hidden in the bedroom. He peered through the peephole. 2 men in dark coats stood outside. One knocked again, harder this time. "Who is it?" Keanu asked, his voice calm but firm. "Delivery," one man said in a flat voice. Keanu looked down. No package, no flowers, nothing but 2 strangers with cold eyes. He didn't open the door. "Wrong apartment," Keanu said, backing away. The men knocked again, now pounding. "We know you have it," the other man hissed through the door. "The bracelet. Give it to us and no one gets hurt." Keanu's chest tightened. He slipped into the bedroom, where Liam and his mother were huddled together. He put a finger to his lips. "Quiet," he whispered. He grabbed his phone and called the police, speaking in a low voice. But when he looked back, the front door's lock clicked open. Someone had picked it in seconds. Keanu's single quotes as mind raced. He guided Liam and his mother into the tiny bathroom, locking it from inside. He stood in front of them, listening as footsteps crept into the living room. One of the men spoke in a whisper, but it carried through the thin walls. "Search everything. They can't be far." Keanu's heart pounded. He looked at Liam. The boy's eyes were wide but brave. He clutched the bracelet tightly in his hand, not letting go. "Give it to me," Keanu mouthed. Liam hesitated, then placed the cold metal in Keanu's palm. Keanu knew what he had to do. He slipped the bracelet into his jacket pocket and opened the bathroom window. They were only on the 2nd floor. He could get Liam and his mother out, but he'd have to buy them time. He looked at Liam's mother. "Take him. Go down the fire escape. Don't look back." "What about you?" she whispered, her voice trembling. "I'll be right behind you," Keanu lied, giving her a reassuring nod. As they climbed out, Keanu stepped into the living room. The men turned, surprised to see him standing there alone. "Where's the boy?" One of them barked. "Gone," Keanu said calmly. "Give us the bracelet." The other lunged at him. Keanu sidestepped, grabbing the man's arm and twisting it until he dropped a small knife. The second man charged, but Keanu blocked the swing and pushed him against the wall. He wasn't a fighter by profession, but life had taught him how to survive. He moved with quiet focus, never letting fear shake him. But as he fought them off, he knew it was only a delay. More people might come. He slipped out through the back door and ran down the stairs, heart racing. Outside, he spotted Liam and his mother hiding behind a dumpster, shivering in the cold night air. "Come on," Keanu said, breathless. "We can't stay here." Liam looked at him, tears gathering in his eyes. "Why do they want it so bad?" Keanu knelt beside him. "I don't know yet, but I promise I'll find out. And I promise I'll keep you safe." As they walked through the empty streets, Keanu felt the weight of the bracelet in his pocket. It was more than metal now. It was a key to something bigger, something that could shatter the small bit of safety he'd given them. He looked down at Liam, holding his mother's hand. They trusted him completely now, and that trust was something he could never betray. Far behind them, the men regrouped in the apartment, making a call. Their words were cold, sharp like knives. "They have it, and they're running." Somewhere in the darkness, a voice answered, "Find them, no matter what it takes." Keanu didn't know that someone powerful had now marked them, but he did know one thing. He would not let Liam's desperate note end in fear and silence. He would fight, even if it cost him everything. The truth that cuts deeper. The sun rose slowly over the city, but the warmth never reached Keanu's bones. He and Liam's mother sat huddled in a cheap motel room, hidden behind thick curtains. The night had left them drained. They hadn't slept. Every sound outside felt like a threat. Every knock made Liam's mother flinch. Liam sat cross-legged on the bed, the old bracelet in his small hands. His thumb traced the strange symbols again and again, like he hoped they would whisper secrets he could finally understand. Keanu paced the floor, his mind spun like a storm. Who were those men? Why did they want a bracelet so badly? What was he really protecting Liam from? He knew he couldn't fight shadows alone, so he called the one man who never failed him, Raj. Raj arrived that afternoon, his eyes tired but sharp. He studied the bracelet under the dim lamp, turning it over and over. "These symbols," Raj said, tapping them gently, "I think they're old military codes. Your uncle, Jonah, maybe he discovered something he shouldn't have." Liam's mother, lying on the bed, spoke up for the first time in hours. "Jonah once told me there were men who did things in secret, things that would ruin powerful people if the truth got out. He was scared they'd come for him. I never believed they would care about me and Liam." Keanu's hands curled into fists. "They care now. They came to your door at midnight, ready to hurt you." Raj sighed, wiping his glasses. "Keanu, if this bracelet is tied to old secrets, they won't stop. They'll follow you anywhere." Keanu looked at Liam. The boy was trying to be brave, but fear clung to him like a second skin. "We have to know what we're up against. I need to know who's after you." Raj nodded. "I might know someone, an old journalist friend. He's good at digging up secrets that don't want to be found." The next day, they met the journalist in a quiet diner outside the city. He was a thin man with wild hair and eyes that never stayed still. He ordered black coffee and spread out old photos on the table. "Your uncle was part of a special unit," the journalist said, pointing to a faded photo of young soldiers. "They were told to destroy evidence of illegal arms deals, but Jonah kept proof, names, accounts, the whole truth hidden in codes. I've heard rumors for years." "And the bracelet?" Keanu asked. "It's a key," the man said. "One of several. The codes engraved on it unlock a safe deposit box somewhere, but no one's ever found it. If they think you have the key, they'll hunt you until you're gone or you hand it over." Liam squeezed Keanu's hand under the table. His eyes shone with tears he refused to let fall. Keanu's single quotes as heart burned. This wasn't just about protecting Liam now. It was about protecting the truth Jonah died to keep safe. "Where's the box?" Keanu asked. The journalist hesitated. "Rumor says it's buried under an old church, abandoned, if the codes are true. What's inside could expose people who paid millions to keep this buried." Keanu's mind raced. He knew he couldn't drag Liam and his mother through more danger. They needed to stay hidden. But he couldn't walk away now. That night, back at the motel, Keanu sat with Liam by the window. The neon sign flickered outside, buzzing like a broken promise. Liam looked up at him. "Are you leaving?" Keanu shook his head. "I'm going to end this, Liam, so you and your mom don't have to run anymore." Liam buried his face against Keanu's side. "I don't want you to get hurt." Keanu rested his hand on Liam's messy hair. "Sometimes helping people means walking into the fire so they don't have to." Liam's mother, watching from the bed, whispered, "Be careful." Keanu promised her he would. But inside, he knew, the moment he stepped toward the truth, he would be marked. There would be no turning back. The next dawn, Keanu stood at the gates of the abandoned church. The wind cut through his jacket. The bracelet felt heavy in his pocket, as if Jonah's ghost was right there beside him. He pushed the old wooden doors open. The smell of dust and rotting wood hit him like a wall. His footsteps echoed as he walked toward the cracked stone altar. Beneath it was a trapdoor, hidden under years of grime. His hands shook as he matched the symbols on the bracelet to a small lock on the trapdoor. A click. The lock fell open. Keanu lifted the hatch. Inside was a small metal box, wrapped in a faded flag. He pulled it out, heart pounding. He didn't know if it held papers, photos, money, or nothing at all. But as he opened it, the truth shone under the weak light. Documents, old tapes, and a list of names that could tear apart men who thought they were untouchable. He heard footsteps behind him. A voice, cold and sharp, cut through the silence. "We told you to stay away, Reeves." Keanu turned slowly. The two men from the apartment stood there, guns in their hands. The leader stepped forward. "Hand it over, walk away, and maybe you live." Keanu closed the box, gripping it tight. "And Liam?" His mother. The man smirked. They were never part of the deal. Keanu felt rage boil up. He'd come this far. He wasn't about to break his promise now. With the truth in his hands and the fire in his chest, Keanu did the one thing they didn't expect. He ran. Gunshots cracked through the old church as Keanu darted through broken pews and fallen beams. Splinters cut into his arms, but he didn't stop. He clutched the box tight, praying he could make it out alive, praying he'd see Liam's face again, free from fear. As he burst through a side door into the blinding morning sun, he knew this was far from over, but he also knew this. Sometimes a desperate note from a hollow-eyed boy could turn a man's quiet life into a war worth fighting. The daylight broke through. Keanu stumbled through the side alley, his breath burning in his chest, the old metal box pressed tight against his ribs, every step reminding him of the promise he carried for Liam and his mother. Behind him, the men's angry shouts faded as he reached the main road. The early morning streets were waking up, people stepping out for work, a mother dragging her child to school, strangers who didn't know a man was running for his life to protect a secret that could shatter powerful men. Keanu ducked into a narrow lane and called Raj. His voice shook as he spoke. "I have it, but they're close. I need you to get Liam and his mother somewhere safe now." Raj didn't waste time. "Where will you go?" Keanu looked down at the box. "Somewhere they'll never expect. Somewhere I can show the world what these men tried to bury." Keanu met Raj at an old library downtown. Liam and his mother were waiting, wrapped in warm blankets, fear in their eyes but hope too. When Liam saw Keanu's face, bruised and bleeding, he ran to him and wrapped his thin arms around his waist. "I thought you were gone," Liam whispered. Keanu knelt down. "I told you, buddy, you're not alone anymore." Raj checked the documents. Inside the box, this is enough to open an investigation. Once the press gets it, they can't hide it again. Liam's mother spoke up, her voice hoarse but strong. "They'll come after you. You know that." Keanu looked at her, then at Liam. "Maybe, but they won't come after you. Not when the truth is out. Not when too many eyes are watching." Raj made some calls, trusted journalists, people who wouldn't sell out to fear or money. Within hours, the small library filled with reporters. They took pictures, filmed the old letters, the hidden tapes. Each flash of a camera was another lock breaking open on the secrets that had chased Liam's family into the shadows for so long. When the story hit the news that night, the city held its breath. The powerful men behind the threats scrambled to deny everything. But the proof was there. Names, signatures, blood money. They couldn't silence it anymore. Keanu didn't go home. He stayed in the motel with Liam and his mother until he knew. They were safe. Every day, Liam would ask, "Is it really over?" And every day Keanu would say, "It's getting better." One evening, as the sun dipped low behind the skyline, Keanu took Liam for a walk. They sat together on an old park bench, watching birds fight for crumbs. Liam turned to him, fidgeting with the now empty bracelet. "Do you think my uncle would be proud?" Keanu smiled, his eyes soft, but tired. "I think he'd be more than proud. You were so brave. You protected your mom. You didn't give up." Liam leaned against him. "And you didn't give up on us." Keanu thought about that desperate note, the trembling words from a hollow-eyed boy who refused to let the world forget him. He realized something in that moment. Sometimes a note doesn't just save the person who writes it. It saves the one who answers it. In the weeks that followed, people rallied to help Liam's family. They got a small apartment of their own. Raj found Liam a good school. Keanu helped his mother get treatment for her lungs, this time from doctors who didn't shut doors, because she was too poor to pay. One day, as Keanu was leaving their apartment after dinner, Liam ran after him. He tugged at his sleeve, forcing him to kneel. "Promise me you'll come back," Liam said. Keanu looked at him, really looked, and saw that the hollow eyes were gone. They were full now, warm with life. "I promise," Keanu said, hugging him tight. As he walked back to his car, he felt the old weight inside him, the emptiness that once grew bigger every year, shift into something new. It didn't disappear, but now it held something stronger than sadness. It held Liam's trust, his mother's smile, the truth that when you stand for someone, you stand for yourself too. He knew the world would keep its shadows, secrets would always crawl back, but sometimes one desperate note was enough to remind a man that no matter how broken you feel, kindness, courage, and truth can build a light that never goes out. And sometimes that light starts with a single boy's hope that someone out there cares enough to read what he wrote.